Okay, so you all know what we're here for, the nutrition seminar. This is 4 weeks, so every Wednesday we're going to meet up and we'll go over things. With what we're doing here, it will help you to read on, because it's like homework. Like next week when you come to the seminar, if you have already done some of the steps and like started thinking about it, it'll mean more to you once we start talking about it. So with changing your diet, it's hard, right? Because you eat the way you eat, and you've been doing it for a long time, and then someone's like, no, eat like this, and it's hard to make it stick, especially if it's just here, eat this way, and then you read it and you do it for a couple of days or a week or longer, and then it falls away. So hopefully with doing this over a 4-week period, it'll actually stick, especially as we implement things on a step-by-step basis, so that you have time to adjust. It's more of a, in the final week we'll actually go over the gradual changes method, which I think is very useful, but it's in the 4th week, so you've already been going through the gradual changes, although you might still need to keep that in mind as you continue on with things, that it doesn't have to all just switch at once, because in week 1 everything changes. But in week 1 I know that you can stick to it because it's the first week. You're all psyched up. Okay, so we're going to get aggressive this first week, and if you're looking at what we got going here, it starts with a 3-day detox. So we hold toxins in your fat, in your liver, in your body. Like your fat cells have toxin in them, right? So we need to get the toxins out of your liver, out of your body, so you can really start functioning at a high level and make this all work well for you. Okay, so the 3-day detox, I've done more extreme ones. I like to do fruits and veggie detox. That's my favorite. So this is the fruits and vegetables detox, and it's not just fruits and vegetables. You actually get to have a sensible dinner, so you are still maintaining some portion of a normal life by having a real dinner. Okay. Before we even get into the 3-day detox though, let's go over the first step in making this work, and that is cleaning out your cupboards. So if you've got kids, if you've got other people that are not going to be eating like this, it's going to be hard to just go in and be like, oh, the crackers are gone. Sorry guys, want carrots? So perhaps maybe reorganizing the cupboards. So there are areas that you know that are forbidden for you to eat from while you're trying to make a change in your body. My little boys love crackers. They love foods that I can't eat, well, shouldn't eat. And I find myself eating their food to not waste it. If I'm hungry and I made them food and like, okay, I'll just eat a little bit of this because I'm starving and I don't want to make myself food because we got to get out of the house. And that's where you really start getting into trouble. So with the first week, you don't have to, I think, worry about it, because like I said, it's more in your face. It's more like you got to do this in order to succeed. So I think you'll stick to it. Moving on, we'll go into meal prepping and meal planning, so that you're one step ahead of the game, so that you make them their food, or whoever their food, and then when you're starving, you don't have to eat what might not be appropriate for you. It's ready, it's in the fridge, you grab it, warm it up in a glass bowl, you're done. Okay, or just take it with you and eat it fridge cold, which is fine too. Okay, so you'll see here in step 1 that you're getting rid of the crap, and that's just an acronym for carbonated drinks, refined carbohydrates, artificial sweeteners and colors, and then processed foods. Those are the things that are really gonna, if you are consuming those are the things that are making it really hard for you to change your body and change, the lifestyle, right? Anyway, let's see here. So it includes but not limited to chips, crackers, cookies, sweets, white bread, pasta, and sodas. Diet and regular sodas. Diet sodas are just as bad for you as regular sodas, believe it or not. I believe I don't know who's working on this, but I did read a news thing coming across that they're trying to get the word diet banned from sodas because it's false advertising, because it doesn't help you lose weight. Although you see the word diet and you're like, oh, this should help me lose weight. They don't go hand in hand, especially with diet sodas. It can actually make you gain weight, so it needs to be removed. So just keep that in mind, that word diet on there isn't reality. And artificial sweeteners in any foods are not going to help you lose weight. So if you see something that says no sugar or low sugar, they put artificial sweeteners in it because they know Americans have a sweet tooth, right? So they're going to put it in there. I don't believe I added a list of different names for artificial sweeteners on here, although that would have been useful. Note to self, add that for later. But aspartame, acesulfame potassium, sucralose, they're usually always at the end of the list. But just like I say, be aware that if it has a sweet taste and it doesn't show any sugars on the nutrition label, there's artificial sweeteners in there. They can use stevia, they can use xylitol, those are natural sweeteners that don't have any calories associated with them. However, it stands to reason that they can mess with your body's ability to metabolize sugars normally as well. So a little bit of stevia, a little bit of xylitol isn't going to mess you up, but a lot of people, like nutritionists, are kind of on the same consensus that if you have a lot of any type of sweetener that does not have the actual sugar calories to it, it can mess up your relay system. So when you taste sweet, your body's like, oh wow, I'm having sweet, I should start putting out some insulin because blood sugar is going to be rising. And then the insulin gets out there and there's no blood sugar. Well, so it's like a false positive. And you do that over time and your body will adjust. It's very adaptable. It'll adapt to anything you do to it. So when you give it that false positive over and over again, and then all of a sudden, and then it adapts to that, and then you start giving it sugar, it's not going to put out the insulin, your blood sugar is going to go way too high, and then you're going to have problems because it's going to have to really store all of it, and it just messes up the whole system, so just be aware of that. Let's see here. So you don't want to throw away perfectly good food, understandable, so donating things to the food bank when you go through your little pantry clean out. If you've got, having canned goods on hand, just in case, isn't a bad idea. Canned fruit in syrup, you might want to donate that and go ahead and get the canned fruit in water. Other things, that you look at and you're like, oh man, I probably shouldn't have this, just donate it. If you've already partially eaten something, you could put it in the back until it goes bad and then throw it out, or you can just throw it out now, which is a lot of times what we do in my house. We do it a lot with vitamins because my wife likes to buy vitamins, and then she forgets that she has them, so she doesn't take them, and I'm like, I don't want to throw these away, and then they just sit in the back of the vitamin cabinet until they expire, and then I throw them away. And so the same thing kind of goes for food. If you're not going to eat it, if you're like, I know I shouldn't eat this, and you don't know anyone in your family that's going to eat it or shouldn't eat it, then just get rid of it. Even if it's partially consumed, just get rid of it. Or, if, like I said, if you haven't even opened it yet, just donate it. Okay? So the goal is then to have all your unhealthier foods removed from your home by this weekend so that you can start the 3-day detox. You can start the 3-day detox ahead of time. You can go home tomorrow or tonight and start getting everything ready. But step 2 is your grocery shopping. So you probably don't have time to grocery shop tonight unless you're a night owl. But however you're going to work it, the way I kind of have this set up is so that you can mentally prep yourself, maybe go over some things over the weekend, get ready for next week. So you're going to do whatever you got to do in terms of cleaning out the pantry, going grocery shopping, and then on Monday morning you can start this. Like I said, if you want to start it earlier, that's totally fine, doesn't matter. Okay, whatever your schedule works best for. Alright, so your grocery shopping day. So you've got some do's and don'ts listed here. The first one, don't restock bad food. Seems pretty simple, but remember, you have habits. You're going to go to the grocery store and you'll be like, well, I always buy these. Okay, well, if it's not on your grocery list, you make a list of things you're going to get, and if it's not on the list, don't get it. Okay, the list for your first week is pretty simple because you're going to the produce section first. You're going to buy everything that looks delicious, and it doesn't matter what it is because you're going to eat all of it because you have all day to eat fruits and vegetables. And then, like I was saying, at night you're having a sensible dinner, so that's what you're going to have to really, you know, make a list for, is a sensible dinner. And then we'll go over what you're going to get on that. Don't go shopping hungry. You know, right now, since you aren't eating super clean, a lot of times you're not hungry because non-clean foods stick with you longer. Once you get into this eating clean thing, you'll find that you get hungrier faster and easier, and that's when the meal prepping and planning really comes into play, is always being prepared ahead of time, because hunger can hit you like boom, like oh my gosh, I'm starving, I'm falling apart. That's when you need to be able to just reach for that Tupperware and eat your food, okay? The next one, make a list before you go into the store to save yourself time. When possible, buy organic and non-GMO foods. It's not just for the fact that you want to buy organic because it's better for you, and a lot of people have the debate, oh, well, you know, this isn't really that much better for you. Well, yes, technically it is better for you to have foods that haven't had pesticides used on them and don't have fertilizers used on them. But the other fact is, we all should support sustainable farming. And in order to do that, you buy organic and non-GMO, right? Because the companies that don't farm sustainably dump chemicals on the land. They do, you know, they're not doing proper crop rotations. They're just killing the land that they're using. So in order to be earth conscious, just buy organic. It's really not that much more expensive. You know, and I remember it says, and it does say when possible. So like blueberries, you love blueberries, and maybe there's no organic blueberries, or maybe the organic blueberries is a little tiny thing for the same price as a giant one that's not organic. Just buy the giant one. When you look at blueberries, blueberries can be washed off. That's easy, right? So if there's pesticides on top of there, you can clean those off. They got a nice hard exterior. Have you ever tried to wash a raspberry? It just falls apart. It's like raspberries and blackberries, you kind of got to buy those organic. You know, this time of year it's going to be harder to find a lot of those. They're not in season. Blueberries are easier to ship long distances. It might be easier to find blueberries, but you can always just buy frozen berries and organic frozen berries. But when berries are in season, blackberries are everywhere around these parts, so don't even buy them. You know, if you do buy blackberries, you should kick yourself a little bit. Unless you have absolutely no time and extra money, then go ahead and buy them. But anyway, so when you're looking for your meats, the things like grass-fed, free range, wild caught, you know, you want to make sure that it's not something farmed, something that had a horrible life. Once again, not only are you trying to eat healthier, but you want to support sustainable farming practices and for the animals and for cattle as well. You might as well just not buy any beverages when you go to the store. Just a little tangent, but something I find extremely interesting. The average American spends over $2,000 a year on beverages, and that doesn't include alcoholic beverages. $2,000 a year. So if you drank water all year, you'd have an extra $2,000 in your pocket probably. That's pretty intense. And you know, all the things that we think are good for us and the health claims on the bottles, they're health claims. So you know, those kombucha drinks are very expensive, and you know, having fermented things, consuming fermented stuff is good for your health. But there's cheaper ways than buying $4 bottles of juice. Going to buy coffees all the time, it can weigh you down. And it's easy to add extra calories when you're buying beverages. Trying to find, like I said, and if you are finding ones without calories, it's going to have stevia in it, which is okay sometimes, but you just can't do that every single day because it can mess with your body. Avoid the middle of the store. That's where all the processed foods are hanging out. In order to buy rice, you're going to have to go into the middle of the store. So just, you know, take a deep breath, go for the rice, buy a can of black beans and get out of there. All right, so moving on, step 3, the 3-day detox. Only raw fruits and vegetables plus a sensible dinner, okay? So I want you to start this Monday at the latest. It is intended to flush out your toxins. You can get a headache during this. because you're, like I said, the toxins are moving out from being stored inside you, and it can mess with you a little bit. So, you know, take an Advil, take an Aleve, whatever you got to do in order to feel like you can get through the day. So for breakfast and lunch, you're trying to do like breakfast, a bowl of fruit, you know, make that, get it prepared the day before, so when you wake up you can just eat it. Lunch, a nice big salad, make it huge. You can put fruit in your salad. I love having apple and blueberries in my salads. The other thing with your salads, just use fresh squeezed lemon on it, because you're really trying to stick to this. You're not using any like olive oil, balsamic, or anything like that. Just take a lemon, squeeze it on top. You know, by lunch, you're only having fruit for breakfast and vegetables for snacks, and fruits, you're going to be hungry, so that lemon, it won't even matter. You're like, this is delicious. Okay, mushrooms are good for protein. Get those on there. If you really feel like you can't hang with what's going on, like maybe you work out in the mornings and you try and push hard, and by lunch it's like, I need more, this salad's not enough, add a little black beans and some corn to that to give you a little extra boost. Okay, if you don't have to have the black beans, don't do it. Just stick to the vegetables and fruits. But if you need to, it's okay. Corn, it's you know, it's kind of a starchy thing to have, but it actually mixed with black beans is a nice little protein source as well. Okay. So for dinner, you've got some options here under the examples. It doesn't have to exactly stick to these, but it is easier on you if you do stick to these. And then you can make a quick little grocery list just looking at what you want to have. You don't have to have the same meal every night, but it does simplify your life, right? So, you know, choose something, make your little grocery list when you go get your produce, go from there. Let's see here. Snacks, you gotta have snacks ready, because it's just fruits and vegetables, and it's gonna get your system moving because you're digesting all that fiber, so it actually will help to raise your metabolism because the digestive system is working. So there's a very good likelihood that you're gonna get hungry, and even if you're not hungry, just keep eating it. Because one of the downfalls of doing this and having a sensible dinner is, I wasn't even really hungry all day, and then you get to dinner and it's like, I have to eat more. And so your dinner ends up to be way too big, and you're having too much of what you're not supposed to have. You need to have like a ton of fruits and vegetables so that when you get to dinner, you're like, I'm not even that hungry. And then you can have less of, you know, the complex carbohydrates or the protein, and then you can really get even more of a benefit from this. What I used to do was have people do a 2.5 day only fruits and veggies, and I didn't have as much compliance as I wanted, so I extended it to 3 days, but put the regular dinner in, and so far I've seen that work a lot better. Okay.
I'm just going to interrupt.
Yeah.
My only concern is, and I'm glad you brought it up, that because I work out in the morning, and I'm ready to eat my arm off by the time it's 11 o'clock. So I am concerned about, you don't want us to have any animal protein in our, at all except for at dinner.
Yeah. So the question is, like what I was saying, early morning workout, and afterwards you're losing it. You got to eat. You can't think. You're dying. Add the black beans and the corn. Have a nice big fat salad. Like just make, you know, so, and like you're preparing the salad ahead of time, right? Because remember, like if you're ready to chew your arm off because you're so hungry, you're not gonna make a salad.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Right. So, you know, if there are, you know, buy a big Tupperware. Make, you know, 3 different Tupperwares, like the big ones, like the gallon-sized Tupperwares. And so, like, that's a nice big fat salad. You got 3 of those, and then put the black beans and the corn with it so you can maintain your energy levels and get some more protein in.
I was really hoping you'd say, how about hard-boiled egg?
Minus the yolk.
3 days.
All right.
3 days. Okay.
Always negotiate.
So on your keys to success, it starts there. It is the first one, like I was saying, eat constantly throughout the day. Just have those snacks ready and just keep eating them. This is going to get a lot of fluids through you too, because there's so much water in fruits and vegetables. So it's just like all over. It's going to really help you out. Let's see here. The next point is what I went over as well. If you don't eat much throughout the day, it's going to be hard to have that sensible dinner. You'll make a bad choice. Bad choices happen when you're hungry, right? Black coffee is okay, but if you can't, I prefer that you drink green tea. It's just a little bit more on the healthy side of than black coffee. Black coffee is not really necessarily bad for you, but remember, carcinogens are bad for you. And I think everyone might have heard that before. You know, you don't want to have carcinogens. Coffee beans are roasted, so they have some carcinogen on them. And then you're just soaking that with hot water and then drinking it. And you know, it's not really the worst thing for you, but green tea is better for you. It's an antioxidant. Okay, so if you can do that during these 3 days, that'll be better. Let's see.
Do you do stevia drops in the coffee though? They sell the stevia drops or the stevia leaves?
If you can get around it for the 3 days without, so yeah, she was asking about putting stevia drops in it, and like I say, for these 3 days, I really want you to do your best to just, this is what you're doing, and anything else is not what you're doing for these days. Okay? Yeah.
There's a word of beer. Rather than doing a sensible dinner, can you do a sensible lunch? And like all the veggies and salad again for dinner?
So a sensible lunch versus a sensible dinner.
Right. Just change the time.
Yeah. That would be fine. That would work. And when you look at how the body works throughout the day, it would actually benefit you, I think, well, maybe not, but it could benefit you to have, because a lot of cultures, they will have the largest meal in the middle of the day. And these cultures aren't really overweight, but of course then they don't really eat processed food either. But having that in the middle of the day, that's when you need the most energy. So yeah, it wouldn't be a bad thing at all. It could benefit you even. Who knows, maybe we'll change things in the future to do that. Let's just see how it works for you.
I work in the evening, and so having a sensible dinner at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Okay. That works. So you'll see this next one on here. Do your best to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Just kind of going back to trying to get you ready to reboot. If you're not sleeping very much, it's really hard to get on the wellness train. And it's also really hard to eat right, because when you're tired, your cortisol levels are elevated, and elevated levels of blood sugar suppress cortisol. So what you end up doing is you crave carbs. So when you're stressed out, you crave carbs. When you're sleep deprived, you crave carbs. So getting the right amount of sleep will make this a lot easier to do. Okay? And then Advil or Aleve if you're getting headaches from the detox. So after this first 3 days, then you're going to go into the transition diet. And what this is doing is it's transitioning you from doing something that's extreme to something that's more sustainable and long term. Now this, you'll see here that I've got breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks in there. It doesn't have to be this, but once again, for the sake of not messing it up, I'd recommend just doing this. If you absolutely cannot have one of these foods, you can sub it out. And then you'll see the subs on the following page. You've got the 3 different food group, or 4 different food groups that I've got listed there. So complex carbs, proteins, fats, and fruits and veggies. So in the breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, I'm pretty sure you can identify which food goes to what group. You can swap it for something else. Let's see here. So that breakfast that I have listed there, though, it's one of my favorite healthy breakfasts. And you'll see later on that I talk about spinach and how it's like, I mean, if Popeye was on the right track, it's really good, and the more times you can fit spinach in, the better. And unless you're having a smoothie in the morning, it's hard to fit spinach into breakfast unless you do something like this. But this works really well. It's pretty delicious. Okay. Now for the snacks, this kind of goes back to what Kathleen was asking for, how to stack with a morning workout. So the snack in the afternoon is for someone who works out in the afternoon, because it's protein shake and a banana for post-workout. If you work out in the morning, that's your post-workout in the morning. But try and eat that breakfast before you work out. Okay? Then have your snack, and then a little later have your lunch. The dinners are just the same as what I have listed on the 3-day detox, because it's a sensible dinner, so stick with that sensible dinner. So your keys to success: be mindful not to slip back into your old ways after being out for fruits and veggies. Okay, so you're going to be having more carbs throughout the day. Just try to not go overboard. You want to still have a lot of fruits and veggies that you're eating. You've been eating them for 3 days. Keep eating them. Don't stop. Right? The complex carbs are just something that you're going to slowly add back in. So don't just start loading yourself up with them. Yeah?
The complex carbs with like the pasta and the breads, like can that be gluten-free?
Yeah. Yeah, and so if you can do gluten-free, it's definitely going to be better for you, especially if you're gluten intolerant, right? If you aren't and haven't been diagnosed as that or haven't noticed that wheat products mess with you, then don't worry about it. But I think most people, myself included actually, when I have a lot of bread products or wheat products, I start to notice like I'm just achy a little bit, like my feet start to hurt a little bit more, I get worn out a little bit more. You know, it's just a lifetime of high gluten intake can wear you out. Okay? Stick to the plan. Don't stray during this three-day period either. It's just week 1. I really want you to focus on week 1 and just stick to the plan. Don't mess up. If you do mess up, it's okay. Don't throw it all away. I screwed up. Just get right back on it, okay? And then continue lots of fruits and veggies. This is your new routine. There's your food groups on the next page. We're just talking about things to consider. You do get a cheat meal. So on day 7, continue to eat the way you were the prior 3 days in the transition diet, okay? That night though, or that lunch, you get to have a cheat meal. And it's good to have a cheat meal because your hormones start to change because of this extreme diet that you've been on, okay? Your hormones, so you've got a hormone, a fat-burning hormone called leptin. And while you're doing this, it will start to decrease. That cheat meal will boost you back up so you're producing more leptin again, the fat-burning hormone. And your thyroid function, T3, T4, those also start to decrease because you're having less calories, you're not having as many high-calorie foods and high-fatty foods, so that doesn't need to work as hard. Then you have that cheat meal, it's like, whoa, kick it in, let's go. So getting that thyroid function working again. You also have 2 hormones that start dropping. One is called Ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone. And, or wait, sorry, that starts increasing. Sorry, not dropping. That one starts increasing, so because you start getting more hungry all the time. As the week goes on, you're like, wow, I'm really, really getting hungry. Then you have that cheat meal to push that hunger hormone production back down. And the last one I mentioned earlier is cortisol. Your cortisol levels will start going up too a little bit throughout the week, so that cheat meal will have to push those back down as well, okay? One cheat meal though, it's not a cheat day. Try not to have 2 cheat meals if you don't have to. If one meal, if it kind of spreads out, like if this is, you know, if your cheat meal ends up to be on Sunday and it's for football, and it's like, well, it started off with lunch and it turned into dinner, I just never stopped eating, so maybe it was dinner, you know? And so if you can try and contain it to not being something that extends for a long period of time throughout the day, that's way better. You can't have 2 alcoholic drinks on your cheat day.
On your cheat day?
On your cheat day.
I'm worried about that.
Drew, when does that cheat meal kick in? 3 days for,
So that's gonna be on day 7.
okay.
And then you're still gonna eat like you've been eating the prior 3 days on that day, except for your cheat meal.
Okay. And then the alcohol kicks in on that cheat day? Oh.
Start making alcohol and stuff.
Right, yeah. Plan it all around the Hawks game, basically. Okay, so like I say, live it up but don't lose control. Water intake, a minimum of 64 ounces, which is a half a gallon. Try and drink a whole gallon. Be that person carrying around the gallon jug of water. Just do it. Okay, so more questions. Yes.
How big are the alcoholic drinks?
So it would just, the alcoholic drinks would be a normal like serving of alcohol. So if it's a mixed drink, hopefully you're doing like vodka and soda water, so that you're not getting extra sugars. You know, with like some lemon or lime, fresh lemon lime in there. Normal sized glass of wine, a beer.
So I'm trying 6 ounces. 2 ounces.
Yeah, and remember, it's all up to you, really. It's how closely you stick to this is how well you achieve your goals, how quickly you'll achieve your goals. The more you stray, the slower you go. Bottom line. So if you're doing this because you'd like to learn, but you really don't care if you make any changes in your body, then you can do whatever you want. And just use this as a tool for learning overall. But I think most people want to change over this 4-week period, and you will change significantly if you adhere to this as much as possible. Yeah.
What would be an example of a cheat meal compared to the regular?
Okay, good question. So, what's the best cheat meal? The best cheat meal is going to be like, right? Well, yeah, going out to dinner, definitely. But I would say not to like have your same healthy food, but have it in greater quantities. Have a burger, have a cheeseburger, have foods that are higher fat. Don't eat a cake. Okay, because remember now, sugar, when your blood sugar spikes up too high, it's bad for your body. So your pancreas has to put out insulin, and that insulin is going to take it off to be stored as body fat. Okay, so the more sugar you have during this cheat meal, the more you are going to store body fat. If you have high fat foods, it digests really slowly. It's going to fill you up faster, and it won't rush your blood sugar. You can still store that high fat meal as fat, but it's not going to happen like having something that's really high sugar. So if you can avoid the dessert after your meal, that would also be ideal. Or just share a dessert with someone else on the program. Yeah, any other questions?
What about vitamins?
Vitamins?
Yeah, supplements.
The likelihood, like if you ate like this all the time, you would never need to take vitamins. If you have a known deficiency, and so maybe you have a vitamin D deficiency, still take your vitamin D. But a multivitamin when you're on a fruits and veggies plan all day long is not going to really be necessary, right? Because that's how we're supposed to get it, and multivitamins are really because people don't eat enough produce, but you will be. What was another question? Yeah.
I have the snack post-workout, and I usually have something before I come and work out to help me get energy. Am I thinking wrong? Should I always be doing it after? Is there a reason why it's put out?
So, when timing your meals and snacks for working out, it's going to be a little different, I think, for everyone. Some people really need to eat before they work out. Some people really need to eat after they work out. Some people have to do both. If you have to do both, it's fine because, so like when you eat before your workout, you are filling up the gas tank. So you can get out there and you can hit it hard. Post-workout, you're just replacing what you burnt. And so the energy that you're using while you're working out is found in your muscle fibers. So it's called muscle glycogen. So when you eat energy, carbohydrates, it all turns into glucose in your body. Those glucose molecules form chains called glycogen, which is then stored in your muscles throughout your entire body. So when you go to do a contraction, that energy has to be in that muscle, otherwise, because it can't come from fat and go all the way up here in that instant, right? It's not the internet. It can't be everywhere instantly, right? Your fat burn is a process. It's a cycle. It's multi-stage. So that's why it's like it actually takes time to get into a fat burn cycle. So when you start doing these workouts, you need to have your fuel ready. You need to have your muscle glycogen ready to go. You also have energy in your liver that you use. Liver. Your liver. Okay, so there's, I don't know what side's what. Okay, so you also have energy in your liver that you're using, but like I say, figure it out for yourself. If you can't work out without eating something beforehand, then you need to have something beforehand. For me, that's me. I have to eat before, and afterwards, I actually have a small window where I feel fine. And then 45 minutes hit and I can't function. But, in that time, you could prepare your meal. Whereas, you know, I couldn't do it in reverse. I'd have to eat beforehand. Okay. Right. And then the protein shake, though, you can have that before, but it really does serve the best purpose post-workout. And so you could even split it up. So you had maybe the banana or something, you know, carb-wise beforehand, and then the protein shake afterwards, and then go make your dinner.
So what's it
or lunch. So you can use for a protein shake, you can use a vegan protein or a whey protein. Whey comes from cows, it's dairy, and it's just, you know, like 20 grams of protein. Usually the scoopers are about 20 grams in there, and that is going to help. So when your muscles are ready to absorb that protein post-workout, you worked them, you made little micro tears in your muscles by doing resistance training. This is why you get sore. One of the reasons why you get sore. So having that protein afterwards, your muscles are ready to absorb that protein. So that's why you have the protein shake, because it gets in your body and out quickly. If you have a big fat steak, it's going to take 45 minutes to break down and start moving out into your blood. That's too late. Those muscle cell, those little receptors are going to start retracting, and then it's no longer readily available to absorb. So a protein shake post-workout is very helpful for recovery and new muscle synthesis.
Speaking of too late, how late before you go to bed do you eat your dinner?
So
Time.
for going to bed and timing of food, I think that 3 hours is probably good. So dinner at 6, bed at 9. That's really early.
Right,
I don't know who does that, but
workout at
That's
6,
me.
so that's where it's hard for me to figure out protein shake and dinner and 3 hours.
and if you push it, so like here's the thing with a later dinner, you know, it's like I'd hate for anyone to go to bed hungry, not in America, right? Not afraid of fitness, right? So just remove some of the complex carbs. The closer it is to bedtime, take a little more complex carbs out. Those vegetables are going to digest quickly, that's fine. They don't have a lot of carb punch to them anyway. The proteins, you know, that you're not going to convert that either, but since your metabolism slows down so much at night, if you have a lot of carb energy on board and it's not going into your muscles to be stored as glycogen, it's going to go to storage, fat storage. So even, you know, if it's an hour, like you know, the way I work, I've got to have something almost right before bed, about an hour before bed to half an hour before bed. So I'll do cottage cheese before bed. That's necessarily on this. You know, a few bites of cottage cheese, or I'll throw some berries in there or something, or I'll use veggies to eat the cottage cheese with, just to have something in my stomach when I sleep. Otherwise, I can't sleep. Wake up hungry.
So if you're a non-dairy person though and have like celiacs who can't do that, like what do you suggest at bedtime?
Snack on veggies.
Veggies at bedtime for
Yeah.
Party with vegetables.
Yeah, I mean, if you...
I love veggies, but I mean, I can only do so much.
Right.
I got hummus.
Yeah, you could even do a non-dairy chia pudding.
How do you feel about avocados?
Avocados are great. You could do an avocado. Do you know what I'm talking about with chia pudding? No? So it's like you could use almond milk, soy milk, and you're just pouring that into a bowl. It takes some prep time to do chia pudding, but it's, you know, you're adding, you can Google chia pudding, right? But it's chia, yeah.
Is that your chia pudding?
I've had it in meal plans before, but and I can give you the recipe if you want, or you can Google it, either way. But it's chia seeds, you know, like maybe 5 tablespoons of chia seeds with a cup of milk or non-dairy milk, and then like a little like vanilla extract, and you can do other things for flavor. But the chia seeds are a nice ratio of carbs, protein, and fat. And so having, you know, a few bites of that late at night before bed, it's a pretty good little trick.
Okay, but is that trick we can't do during the first 3 days, right?
Right. Trying to like.
No
You're really trying to stick to the plan.
Because I'm trying to slip
These-
butter into this plan. A little butter? If you would have a...
Yeah, Rob.
Without butter?
Well, I kind of have a two-part question. First of all, I don't see any coconut oil on your oil list or coconut anything.
Coconut oil should be on there.
Okay. And then the smoothie, can you put in almond milk or
Yep. Yeah. The thing to be aware of, because knowledge is power, with milk alternatives, there's usually always a fair amount of gum product in there, carrageenan gum, guar gum, those type of things. What they use those for is the marketing of texture. So it gives it more of that creamy texture like milk. The problem with that is the gum products coat the lining of your small intestines, and there are little hair-like things called villi that absorb nutrients that then get gummed up with the gum product and can inhibit the absorption of nutrients. So the cool thing is your body sheds that within 1 to 2 days. But if you're having this every day, multiple times a day, you can see where the problem could arise, that you're not going to get the right nutrient absorption out of the foods you're eating.
so water is your best bet?
Yeah, if you're having a lot of smoothies, if you're a smoothie person, you have a smoothie every day, maybe multiple smoothies, yeah, might as well use water. And use the coconut milk or the soy milk for other things that are, it's like, well, I gotta have it with this, whereas the smoothie is like, it's kind of okay with water, I can be fine. Yeah, Greek yogurt. Yeah, I put Greek yogurt in my smoothies.
So we start this program tomorrow?
You can. You can anytime between tomorrow and Monday.
This weekend, man. We got football.
I don't have any food in my house anyway, so this will be easy.
Yeah, anytime between now and Monday, start this up.
Okay.
So, let's say you stick to it religiously. What's kind of the goal per week of weight loss per se, or what would you look forward to?
So this first week, what you can most likely expect is to lose about 5 pounds. So this won't all be body fat because you are getting rid of a lot of your ready stored energy like liver that holds energy in it. You're going to get a lot out of that. And in the first 3 days, you're going to notice a drastic weight change. With bringing the carbs back on board, that's why we're doing the 3-day transition, so that you don't just start storing it as fat because your body thought you were starving yourself, right? So you have to work that transition properly as well. But at the end of the week, you should have if you're working out all week long too, you should have a net, I think, body fat loss of close to 5 pounds, 3 to 5 pounds of body fat loss that you should be able to hold on to.
Is that pretty much for each week, or will that taper off, or so?
Yeah, so weight loss always tapers off. Anytime you apply a new stimulus, you're going to have the best results at first. And that's why, of course, we're always changing the stimulus so that you can't adapt, because the body wants to adapt. But yeah, I mean, even when you've got 20 pounds to lose and you lose 5 pounds, well, now you've only got 15 pounds to lose. So if you lose the same percentage, it's only going to be 3 pounds. And then same percentage is only 1.5 pounds, for example, right?
I don't like that.
The lower you get, the harder it is to lose. That's just the way it is.
So I'm going to add it.
Yeah.
Would it still be okay to have like an espresso or something before you come in the gym?
So having a pre-workout jolt of caffeine, if instead of doing an espresso, especially during this week, I'll just give you a caffeine pill. It's just straight up caffeine. No calories in that.
I don't do it for the flavor, so yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just to like really try and stick to this instead of anything else.
That's easy.
Yeah.
That means you still have a headache and so you actually get one.
I don't do it for it. I don't pay attention to doctor. It's just, I don't.
There's no shame here.
Any other questions?
We're all in the same boat. We all drink caffeine.
back to the smoothie. I loaded my smoothie, so you don't want us to give any chia or hemp or anything like that in our smoothies.
Yeah, if you're making smoothies this week, or for the first 3 days, just fruits and vegetables. Like, don't put chia or hemp. I mean, I put chia and hemp in my smoothies all the time, but not during your fruits and veggies detox. Okay? Only fruits and veggies. Only fruits and veggies. Only fruit.
We're not completely sold on that first food.
That's first
Vegetarian was trying to do more vegetarian, so we would just recommend like the black beans or something in place of starting
Yeah.
Monday. And so what about how much?
Um,
How much would take the place of 4 to 6 ounces of
Right, so she's asking about if you're doing things more vegetarian style, once you start adding in the other foods and having meat again. If you want to be more vegetarian, you just need to go with some more vegetarian sources. So, I forget where I listed some of these on here. But, so like, you know, you can go with soy products, so like edamame, tempeh, tofu. You can have that, mushrooms, beans, quinoa, corn. They have protein in them as well. Broccoli has a good amount of protein in it as well. So, you know, you can even just do the simple, I mean, Google everything, right? But you can Google vegetables or vegetarian sources of protein. And there's laundry, you know, enough websites to fill this room.
protein powder day 4 though, right? That's what you were saying. Like day 4?
Yeah, you can start having protein powders on day 4, right?
As far as seasoning and salts and things like that, is there anything to stay away from? Or?
For seasoning and salts, you can probably use, you can use whatever you like. Just be aware that if you're using blended seasonings, a lot of times they'll put chemicals in there to round it out.
But
And,
things like basil,
Yeah.
oregano.
yeah,
red
just
pepper
straight up
flakes,
herbs and spices, you know, use them. Yeah, by all means.
and I'll be fine.
So the pasta selection, like, is the whole grain pasta could be like a quinoa brown rice if it's gluten free?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah, whatever healthy pasta substitutions you want. It doesn't have to be the whole grain pasta. I'm not a real big fan of pasta overall for weight loss. It's, you know,
Zucchini, like,
oh yeah, you do,
fertilizer with
yeah.
zucchini?
Yeah, that's actually your final meal plan. That's one of the items on there. So if you have a spiralizer, or you can go to, I don't know, forget where you get them, but they're not expensive. Bed Bath & Beyond, doing the zucchini, just spiralize that. But yeah, if you can stay away from pasta, great. But if you just like, you know, have a thing for it and you have to have it, do the whole grain pasta, or like she was saying, the quinoa black bean pastas, and then just be conservative with it. Anything else? Good to go? Ready to rock?
Yay.
Go team. Okay.